Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about the Marvel Multiverse tabletop role-playing game. It was just announced. It's really the Marvel Superhero 6E tabletop role-playing game. It's coming out in 2022. Actually, you'll get the playtest in 2022, which you will purchase. That's pretty incredible. That tells a lot about our industry. But it's really quite fascinating because I really think this is definitely one of the biggest things to be happening in tabletop role-playing game right now. And one of the reasons why is what it means for just how important it is, how critically important it is to specifically the business industry of tabletop role-playing games. So we have this situation where right now, when we talk about the industry of tabletop role-playing games, it is an abysmal wasteland. It is an amateur's playground. The professionals are so far outweighed by the amateurs, it's not even funny. And in America, when you count actual tabletop role-playing game companies, I think there's only two left. There's Wizards of the Coast, and there is Monte Cook Games, and they have buildings where people go and they actually do work, and they check into a cubicle at 9 in the morning, and they check out at 5:30 p.m. and go home and have dinner with their family, and then do the same thing the next day. Every single other company in America is part-timers, right? It's like somebody, some really earnest game designer doing work on the weekends, and it's terrible. It's just terrible. There's no career arc. You know what the career arc in tabletop role-playing games is right now? You start as a freelancer, then you become the primary game designer, and then you become a CEO. All that happens in 8 years, and if you're lucky, then you start working for $100K or more once you transition into the video game industry, which swipes the vast, at least 90% of all the actual talent in the industry. There's no career arc in tabletop role-playing games because the industry is so weak, so small, so niche, right? Marvel Multiverse tabletop role-playing game is a chance that could change. It's a place where people could graduate to, right? Once this thing is going to go into, it's actually going to materialize in, and the game will start being made. Now, what you need to understand is this is Disney getting into the business of tabletop role-playing games. That is a real deal, right? So right now, Wizards of the Coast is really the only company in America where 50 plus people actually work on tabletop role-playing games for 40 hours a week, making an actual living with benefits, right? They're the only company right now. Again, maybe Monte Cook Games is still doing that, but who knows with the pandemic. I know for a fact that WotC's building is still in existence, and there are still people who work there, right? But I have not been able to identify even a single other company other than Monte Cook Games, right? So when this happens, there is a distinct possibility that we could be looking at a new place. There could be a tabletop role-playing game division within Disney within 2 to 3 to 4, maybe even 5 years. And if the Marvel tabletop role-playing game does well itself, that could employ 10 to 20 people alone, right? And it would make sense because the tabletop role-playing game could be the canon golden source for all information Marvel, right? And it would allow them to turn their literally encyclopedic volumes of data about comic books and comic book characters into actual money through the tabletop role-playing game, right? So they could get paid to do something that used to be an administrative task. Right now it's an exciting product, right? But it still serves the same purpose across the company, right? So that's really unique and new, and I'm incredibly excited because this will help mature the industry. And get this, if this works, other companies may want a tabletop role-playing game division, right? So what would it look like if Sony had a tabletop role-playing game division? What would it look like if Netflix had a tabletop role-playing division, right? That would be a big deal, and it would I think it's incredibly important to having a career arc for people who actually want to make a career in tabletop role-playing games. because that arc does not exist today. Mike Pondsmith did exactly what I just said. He was an incredible writer. He was an incredible designer. He owned the company at one point, and he just got swept up by got swept up by some nonsense video game, and just finished his career there. Right? Like there really isn't a career arc for tabletop role-playing games outside of Wizards of the Coast, and one company is not enough to have an actual industry career arc. We really need this to succeed. I'm going to buy the heck out of this book, and I encourage you to do it too, because it's not just to get the product. This is to make the whole industry stronger. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful Monday.